Millen, what's going on, brother?
My God, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Dude, it is my pleasure having you on here. We are talking about today about a deal you got going, and you did it the painless way, man. You've got your buyer, you established exactly where you're going to go, and you told me pretty much this guy, he kind of just took care of the deal for you, right?
I mean, honestly, I just put two and two together, and then I was just out of the mix, honestly.
Bro, I love deals like that, man. I love when I'm just like, hey, here's a deal. What would you pay? They say what they well, actually, let's go dive into it before we even get into it. So how did you get into real estate investing? Let's dive into that first. You said you started this year. So let's talk about how that experience and that went.
Yeah. So I literally started on April 15th, 2023. But I never even thought about real estate before then. But I started off with actually learning about business credit.
Okay.
And then one of my friends took a wholesale class along with that. And then he told me this was the field for me. Mm-hmm. And so I actually didn't do that first. I did a class with one of my good friends / mentor, Brent Stanford.
Okay.
And he was teaching me things about real estate. And after that, I really wanted to go the wholesaling route because I knew that was a good way to make money for right now, wholesaling. So I chose to go that route. And April 15th, man, I started driving for dollars. So
driving for dollars. Where are you located, by the way?
Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Okay. So you are specifically working in that market, or did you start doing it virtually?
No, just in this market, Winston-Salem, High Point, and Greensboro. I'm trying to stick around local right now.
Great. Awesome. So let's talk about how you worked with this buyer. How did you find this buyer on this deal that you had?
So literally, when I first started, I got a postcard from this guy, from his company. And I actually called the number on the postcard because I just wanted to talk to him just to get some advice.
Yeah.
So I did it like that. And then we just basically kept in touch, really.
Straight to the source, bro.
Very nice guy too as well. Very helpful. And that's what made me want to reach out to him even more.
Awesome. So, okay. So let's talk about how you went through the strategy. So you heard about the painless wholesaling strategy from me, right? I think we were talking about that. Hey, I love it. And I've been trying to preach this, man, because a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll go out and pull a giant list in an area they don't really know. They'll call it, they'll maybe get a deal or someone, and then they won't really have a buyer for it. So what I say is, hey, start with the end in mind. Know where buyers are buying, and then use them to help you bring the deal. And it actually helped you in this certain situation when the seller is being kind of tough, right?
Yeah, man. Man, it's so simple. It's like kind of like mind blowing, like how much I didn't put any time into this sale at all.
It feels good. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk us through it. Talk us through how simple it was and what you did.
Okay. So like basically literally 2 weeks ago, I went driving for dollars in Greensboro because I had to go to a RIA event down there. Mm-hmm. So I spent like a couple of hours just driving for dollars in that area. Before that, I actually went on batch leads and I looked up where the high cash buying activity was. Mm-hmm. So that's when I went into that exact area and drove around there for a couple of hours. And then after that, I called on those properties. And this guy, he was just ready to sell. And what I'm really noticing too as well is you have to basically catch these people at the right time. And this guy literally at that right time was ready to sell. He said, I just got about this yesterday.
Amazing.
So I called on him the next week, and literally it was like that Wednesday. Mm-hmm. We got it sold with my buyer that Friday.
Wow, bro! You said this happened 2 weeks ago. You started actually just driving.
What do you mean? Like for that?
For this deal, you said 2 weeks ago you were driving that area.
Yep, right? 2 weeks ago, literally. Yeah, it happened that fast. Like it's
that's quick. That's amazing.
I know.
Because sometimes it takes months to get deals. So you just picked an area that had high cash buyers, and you knew your buyer was would buy in there. You drove it, called it, guy wanted to sell, and then you just what happened there? You were talking to the seller. And didn't he give you some slack or something? Didn't he flack or whatever?
So as far as with the seller, he actually had another offer.
Oh, okay.
Had another offer. And what actually helped me out with this was that he wanted to not help me out, but it did a little bit, but he wanted to see some credentials.
Okay.
And unfortunately, since I'm just getting started, I don't have like a website yet or Google reviews and all that jazz. So I actually reached out to this guy in the area, Greg Burney, shout out. Mm-hmm. And he had all the credentials. So I basically hit up Greg and I said, look, I need your help with this. Let's do it. Let's get this sale.
And did Greg call him, or did he just give him the website, or what how did your buyer get involved?
Basically, Greg just gave me his website. I sent it to the seller. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we hopped on a 3-way call, and Greg just did all the talking. And I just was just listening and learning from the more experienced wholesaler / investor.
Amazing. Amazing. So when you're talking to the seller, he said, look, man, I already got an offer at whatever, right? Did he tell you the offer he had?
Yeah, he did. Actually, he did. That was
okay. And then you were like, hey, I think I can pay more than that, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. And then did you then reach out to your buyer to see what he'd be able to pay?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Amazing. So, right. Did you even have the contract? And at the point when you talked to your buyer to just be like, hey, what could you pay? Or did you ask him first? Did you have it under contract?
Oh, no, it was not under contract. So this was a person that I basically trusted.
Yeah.
And he seems like a trustworthy guy, and just went along with it.
Oh, I love it. That's what I'm talking about. These are deals that if you didn't have that trusted relationship, it probably wouldn't have been very easy to navigate. So let's give it a scenario for everyone listening. The seller's like, hey, I got to offer 95, and you don't know anyone, but you want the deal. You think it's a deal. You're not sure, right? So you tell the seller, oh, I can pay more. Essentially, you're lying because you don't know, right? But you didn't lie. I'm just saying people will just say, yes, I can pay more. And then they go and look. Yeah. You did it the painless way, and you're just like, hey, give me a second. I think I can pay more. You called your guy. He said, did he give you the price he said he can pay? Like, didn't he say he could give you like a specific amount?
The buyer?
Yeah, the buyer. Didn't he say like, hey, it can pay?
The buyer basically said, Greg, he said, just text him what I can do. And that's it. So I texted him and he said, let's do it.
Amazing. So he gave you the price, and you went back to the seller and you're just like, hey, I can pay $1,000 more than the other guy. And then you just
made what it was, $1,000 more.
And the guy's like, of course I want to make an extra $1,000, right? Mm-hmm. So then you sign it and it's done. It's already dispoed, brother. You just got to get it to the title company, and Greg's got taken care of. You're good.
Yeah, that's it.
Man, easy peasy. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many deals that come across to me, bro, when like a seller wants a certain amount. And I'm like, dang, I think this is a deal, but I don't want to be the guy who's like, yeah, I can do it, and then lock it up, go try for a week or whatever my due diligence period is, and then have to go back and be like, oh, I couldn't find anybody. But we don't say that. We just, wholesalers most of the time just say, oh, I can't, something happened or what. They make some excuse up, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have 5 to 10 solid top cash buyers in your pocket, it's just a phone call. And then after that, you just sign the agreement. You can get tied enough with these buyers where you can just have them even negotiate or them hop on the call. They don't care. They want a deal.
Yeah, I'm still working on that cash buyer list stuff. So, but hey, we're getting there, man. We're getting there.
It takes time, and you gotta have the right conversations. But look, imagine having 5, 10, even 5 relationships, just like you have with Greg, right? Where you can just be like, bro, what'd you pay? You want to hop on this call? They're gonna be able to educate you and navigate the situation with you.
Preach. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So let's talk about how you could make, because I know you said it was like a $5,000 deal, right?
Yes.
So $5,000, we all want to make a little bit more. So this is what I would do in this situation. This is what I've done. Okay. If it seemed like a skinnier deal just because the other guy was at 95 or whatever, and you had to pay a little bit more just to get it done. So this is what you would do in situations like this. You could potentially have other relationships, and you could call them and be like, hey, Greg, I know you gave me your offer. I need to make a little bit more money, so I'm just going to ask a couple of my other people what they'd pay. Greg should be cool enough to be like, yeah, I get it, man. I know you got to make money. That's one of the options, right? Just have a couple more people you'd reach out to. Okay. So number one, just have more relationships, more people to talk to. Number two is you could talk to Greg and you could say, hey, Greg, bro, I'm only making $5K on this one. Is there any way you can pay a little bit more, man? And you could ask him to pay a little bit more upfront. Now, if he's like, I can't, I'm tight, that's exactly where I have to be, then you could say, is there any way we could structure this where maybe, I get 5 now, and then when you're done flipping it, maybe I get like 10% of the flip, like the profit that you make on the flip, or a certain percentage. Mm-hmm. Then he's like, yeah, I don't mind paying you later, especially if I make money. But if I do this and if I don't make above 20K, then, I need to make my money. So what I would say in this situation is like, okay, Greg, if you got to make $20,000 on this flip, anything above 20 that you make, let's split it, or let me get like a percentage. Then
Wow.
he would say, oh, okay, yeah, because I'm making good and I'm taking care of you. That's one way, right? Now, if it's a rental for Greg and he's like, I'm actually going to keep this, bro, and be like, well, hey man, is there any way maybe I could get a percentage of the equity of the property? Because that's what I do with some of mine. I have a buyer where I'm like, hey man, I didn't make enough. Can we structure where I just have ownership, a percent of the ownership, and I get profit off the rent, and when it sells in the future, I'll get a percentage. And those are usually subject to deals that we keep on like for Airbnbs and stuff and rentals. But that's another way. And this guy, you use his credentials, right? So that's okay. It doesn't seem like he was giving you a lower offer because he was involved a lot. But if you feel like maybe they want to make more because or pay you less because they did more, you don't always have to have them give you the credentials. And because there's a lot of ways to get not just websites, but there's ways to get proof of funds from hard money lenders. So you could send it to the seller and be like, hey, I'm good to go. This is a hard money lender gave me this. You can give them, I have what's called a credibility packet, which just has like, some information about who I am, some reviews I've had from past. So you could get a review from these two people and put it on. You could show them Google Business and ask them your friends to leave you some reviews. So there's a lot of ways to have credibility. Websites are pretty dang easy too to throw up with landing pages. I have a CRM that actually lets you just put up a landing page, which you can make a website in like in a day. So if you don't have a CRM yet, then you can specific CRMs will let you pull up websites really quick. So those are some of the suggestions I would have so you can make more. But the cool thing about this situation is like you might, without Greg or without that relationship, you might not have been able to convince the guy to go with you. He might have just went with the other guy, right? At 95.
Exactly.
And that's another reason why giving the offer too soon is kind of a bad idea, right? Because sellers, they'll shop it, bro. Unless you can get them to like commit to accept your offer, if you give them what you can agree on right then, they're just gonna wait.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, let me give you an example how to overcome this. So whoever that gave that seller that offer where he went with you, this is what I would have done. I would have been say, hey, Mr. Seller, if we can come and agree on a price, are you good to sign today? And then he would say yes or no. And I'd say, okay, you're not ready to sign today. Is there something that's holding you back? And he's like, oh, I'd rather check with more people on, what I can get paid. Then I would hold back my offer and say, hey, I understand if you want to check with other people. I don't want to give away my number yet. I can give you a range, but when you're ready to make a decision, I can give you that final price. Because what happened is he just took that other guy's offer and he went with the better offer. Now, if the guy would have said, yes, I'm ready to sign, I give him the offer. And whether I got it from my buyer or not, I give him the offer. And then I say, I'm going to send you over the paperwork right now. And I'm going to read the contract through with you just to make sure you understand so you feel comfortable signing. Are you in front of your computer? He's like, yeah. So I send that over and I read through the agreement with him, explain things, answer questions. And then I say, are you ready to sign? So I never just send contracts, or I try to avoid sending contracts where I kind of hope they sign, because that can be rough. Sometimes they won't. They'll just ghost you. So hopefully me telling you all this is helpful, so you don't get in the situation of the guy that lost the deal to you, and that you can get paid more money on your next one.
Nice, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Of course. Yeah. And, I've done many deals like this. And like I said, the more relationships you get out there, the more stuff you can try. So I have a deal that came across my desk in, it's like $1 million home. So I reached out to just quickly, I was like, hey, I got to reach out to my high-end buyers. They're not interested. So I just saved my time from going under contract, sending it to title, doing all this stuff, because if my people don't really want it, then it's probably not that good of a deal. I can just already know it's not worth my time. If you do the strategy, it will save you hours and weeks and so much time, bro. Because I've probably locked up over 400 contracts since I started doing the other way, where you just tell a seller you can do it, or you give them a price that you think makes sense. You lock it up, then you look for a buyer. No one buys it, and you got to cancel. The amount of time that takes, oh my gosh, you add that all up, so much time, bro. It's a complete waste. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the only way I say tell people just lock it up is if it's a no-brainer deal. But sometimes, most of the time, it's pretty iffy. You're like, I don't know. I gotta ask somebody because it's kind of tight.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Cool, Jay. Well, going forward, man, are you gonna try and implement this strategy a little bit more, like work in those specific areas where you got buyers?
So, man, honestly, I'm gonna continue to work with this guy that I've been talking to, and then also too as well, I'm gonna try to go to RIAs and meet some more buyers and see which ones I feel comfortable with. That's the main thing, right? I guess feeling comfortable with them to do something like that,
Yeah, yeah, you got to feel comfortable. And a
Yeah.
lot of the time that makes me feel comfortable is if they've done many deals, right? Because no one is going to recommend, like, for example, if I call a title company and they recommend me a buyer,
Right.
title company's not going to recommend me a buyer who is going to snake me because they got that relationship. They've done many deals. If you just meet some random guy or somebody on a Facebook group, they're like, yeah, I can do it. That's where I get iffy. I'm like, I don't really know you. We got to either meet or you got to be recommended to me by, someone in the circle, you know what I'm saying? Like someone in the network. That's how you can avoid majority of these issues.
Nice. Okay. Makes sense. Okay.
Cool, man. Well, I'm excited for your journey. Keep it up. And one suggestion you're going to learn, and this might help you out as you're starting out. I'm sure Greg and other people you meet also have marketing lists. They also probably have ways, like, people you can call. That's what I did when I first started. So I networked, and then I also asked, like, hey, do you have any people I can market to, any lists or anything you pulled and skip trace, so I don't, have to pull it. And if I get a deal, then obviously you get first dibs and we can work together on it. That way, they can pay for your marketing, right? Because for you, you're like, hey, Greg, like, I'm gonna call these people. You get first dibs. If it doesn't work for you, obviously I got to go find out someone else, but I'm gonna become the first one to you, and you can get your marketing paid for. Let's freaking go, bro. It's all about networking.
I love it. I didn't think about that. That's dope. Okay.
And it's just a simple question. It's like, hey, man, do you have any lists I can call? I'd love to get you some more deals. And when I did it, I actually got the buyer that I was working with to get paid for, a couple $1,000s in lists that he wanted. Or I think he actually just gave me one of my buyers actually just gave me $2,000. He's like, go ahead and market it. And he was cool. He didn't really expect the money back, but I was newer. I didn't get a deal from his 2,000. So I actually paid him back later in the future. Gotcha. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you're slick about it, you can have them, pay for your marketing.
Hey, I like that a lot. Okay. Thanks for the gem right there, for sure.
You got it. All right, brother. Well, you got anything you want to say to everyone before we head out?
Man, honestly, just take imperfect action. That's it. That's what I'm doing right now. Just learning along the way. Like, I didn't let dialysis get over me too much. Just take imperfect action and get after it. That's it.
Proud of you, man. Thank you for showing us what it looks like to just get out there and get it, because this is real, bro. You can make money. You just got to talk to people. As you know, you got to just reach out and you got to take imperfect action. So well said. And Jay, we'll see you on the next one, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, Nathan.
You got it.